I'm going to talk about Uranus transiting by square to the Sun. And I'm going to read some text from a book that I'm co-writing with Sophia, which focuses on the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, considering them as aspects of a trinity, a sacred trinity, which really is one thing with three facets. So, Uranus square Sun. This transit likely instills a sense of urgency in the desire for self-development through conflict or friction. So we have with Uranus no great patience, no duration. Uranus acts immediately, spontaneously, and so it feels urgent. We need to deal with Uranus energies immediately. And when it's aspecting the Sun in any way at all, we must be looking at something which frees us up from our sense of previous limitations and promotes self-development. Very often the square indicates some sense of friction, which could be conflict, and it depends upon your willingness, I think, to change, and in this case change quickly. If evolution is not voluntarily surrendered to, progress will be forced upon us, propelled forward with little regard for comfort, familiarity or personal sensitivities. So this is the very point. With any aspect at all, we must understand that we're being made to change who we are, how we see the world. And it could be a gentle shift, and it could be a major, forced shift. Well, major seems to be the appropriate energy with these outer planets in every case. Forced is an aspect of what a square can do for us. It doesn't have to be that way, and just because most astrology is practiced on the basis that a square is difficult, people think about that as being the case, and those who know anything kind of attract this sense of being forced. It's not necessary. If you voluntarily do what must be done, then it's not a force. It's the voluntary quality that turns it into being forced. If it's involuntary, then it's forced. More so than at other times, conventionality of any type is looked down upon with disdain, as the self distances itself from modest conformity and docile obedience. We're talking Uranus, we're talking freedom from the constraints of the community, freedom from staid, stuck old ways, which we actually want. We like that feeling of freedom, and we very often don't like the feeling of being stuck, and we would call it something else like security. While this journey may be initiated and sustained by conflict, it results in unprecedented ways of being that are incongruous with our previous self-identity. Our investment in self is full on. We really love ourselves more than anything else, and we're attached to that image we have of self, which is actually always historical. And Uranus is giving us the sort of spiritual message here that won't do. Nothing is fixed. Everything is changing. So our attachment to self is really our attachment to past self. It might only be minutes ago, days ago, years ago that we develop that sense of self, but it's always historical. And Uranus is always futuristic. So we're being encouraged, if not forced, to change our self-awareness, our our self-definition, our sense of how we perceive ourselves. This shift in self-understanding allows us to access and display our unique qualities with much greater determination. The reluctance that we have really to be who we are comes from having been punished or censored in some other way for being different from the collective. Anyone who is different from the sheep of community life and becomes even a black sheep, let alone a goat, they are criticized, they are ostracized, they are scapegoated. There are ways to make sure that the people that want to be different from society are discouraged from that. That's the job that Uranus has, is to overcome that profound community pressure to be the same as everyone else, to make them feel comfortable for not having the courage to do what we're doing now. And Uranus gives us that determination. It gives us the energy, you see. A lot of energy in Uranus. Challenged to live boldly and authentically, we ultimately enrich our path towards self-mastery. And that's the goal, isn't it? We're all trying to be a little bit more than we were before, a little bit more free, a little bit more self-expressive. And whatever challenges we have to overcome in order to realize that dream will certainly test us. So Uranus square Sun, it's a big test. It's sudden. It's non-negotiable. It's central to the essence nature of who we believe ourselves to be. It's a high level of energies, like trying to assimilate lightning to deal with the Uranus transit. And you have to be a fairly Uranian type of person to be able to do that. And that's an unusual case. You know, if you've got an angular Uranus on your ascendant, descendant, midheaven or nadir, then that would emphasize Uranus. Or if you have a Sun, Moon, Uranus conjunction close in your chart, then you'd probably be very much more comfortable with these transits than others. However, it is a square. Now, the square is frictional. So you think of times when the absence of friction would be severely debilitating. You can't walk on ice, for example. Now, here we have friction on the level of Uranus. So to get up a mountain, you need lots of friction. And here's Uranus giving us lots of friction. Uranus square, the Sun, is frictional. And it will come to us in the form of others who are very Uranian, or events, sudden, shocking even, surprising, that sense of like, oh. And that could apply to knowledge as well. We could become aware of ourselves as having abilities that we didn't know before. We could become aware of ourselves as being strong and powerful and free and creative in a way that perhaps has lingered deeply within us as a feeling, a sense of, oh yeah, I know there's something more to me, but I just don't know what it is. I don't know how to get that out, to express myself in some meaningful way or even observable way out there. I don't know how to do that. And Uranus comes along and it just says, well, just do this. Now, do it. Don't try and understand it. Intuitively, maybe you get a grasp of why it's happening and what is happening, but not really, not on a mental level, not fully. You won't really understand what's going on. And so it'll be a little bit frightening for some people. And yet those of us who can enjoy Uranus transits and surrender to them, it's like a roller coaster. It's just running down a hill. If you ever run down a hill when you were a child, you remember that experience. You get to a point and you think, I can't slow down now. If I tried to slow down, I would fall over. So you just have to allow yourself to go as fast as you need to. And that momentum will carry you down the hill. That's the energetic shift that you have to make. Is no way you can control what's going on in your life anymore. And you have to let go into that and be taken at a higher pace of change than you're used to. And it's for some people that they can assimilate and enjoy. It's fast, and it's furious, and it's exciting, and it's sometimes dangerous, and it's never easily assimilated. But it will change you into something that you're very pleased to become. And it doesn't take that long. It comes once fast and then goes retrograde quickly again a bit later, but you might not notice that so much. And then a third time fast again, and it's a bit more familiar. Now you know what's happening. So the first hit of a Uranus square, a bit shocking. The second retrograde hit, okay, now I'm beginning to understand. And the third forward pass, right, let's do this thing. And you can harness your greater levels of energy for self-expression in the world.